Everybody, welcome to Virtual Bourbon. My name is Steve Akley. We have a fun event. We're back with Cooking with Will Whitfield, and we should have some fun today. And this is very timely, too, because a lot of us are going to be cooking the next several days. This could be some things that help us. Maybe we'll change up the menus a little bit after seeing what you have to say here today, Will. How you doing, man?
I'm making it, doing well, as I always say, as doing well for an old man, plugging along.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we missed last month. I know that it just my condolences. Your grandfather. That's a tough thing. I get that. So, we are all very sorry about that. Everybody carried over. It was fine. We moved the event. No one was like, nah, it doesn't work. So I thought that was really a nice thing. So.
I appreciate that immensely. It's one of those things. It's the cycle of life. It's still difficult, but he had a good life, so we keep plugging along. There you go.
Absolutely. When are we going to get you back here to St. Louis? You're due to visit some family because you and I haven't seen each other in 2 years, probably more. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been 2 years. Yeah, I'm overdue. I need to definitely get back next year. This year was kind of thrown into a little tizzy, but I shall be back, and maybe we plan it to do a live there.
Yeah,
do a cooking.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Demo there.
We can do one here in St. Louis for sure. Absolutely, that'd be great.
Mask and all.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you got lined out for us today?
Well, we're gonna start off with the drink that I normally make, or something to get us started. There's no cooking unless you're drinking. Personally, you're not cooking unless you're sipping on something. So.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pineapple bourbon lemonade that we're going to make. The main course is going to be a rack of pork. Yeah. It's going to be an herb one, and it will have a bourbon pineapple glaze. And we'll also have a side of greens, and I have a bacon mac and cheese. Ooh. And then to finish it all up, we're going to have a bourbon pineapple upside down cake.
Man, all right. You're talking my language here, Will, so I like it.
I hope so. So to get started, it's the actual that pineapple lemonade is extremely simple. It's just 3 ingredients. It's a summer drink, but if we need a reminder of what it is to feel lively again in the winter, this is a perfect, simple ingredients that we can get from the store or juice it. It's better when it's fresh. Me personally, I did mine fresh. It's lemon juice, pineapple juice, and bourbon. So, and it's just the concoction with the actual mixture. So,
okay. And just a reminder, Will, we do have I see one new person here on this event, and there was another one that signed up that hopefully will be watching this later. You do send over the recipes later, so I will email that out to everyone. So you don't need to write it down or keep track of it. We'll get you all that stuff after the fact. So
correct. Yeah. And I'll give a shout out real quickly to my buddy Mike White. We work together. I support him. He's been supporting me tremendously. Great barbecue sauce. And also rub. So I use it in competition, and I actually cook with him on his team, Mike White. So the best damn barbecue sauce, and then also his rubs, a baby rub. Great rubs if you can go out and check them out. I'm glad he's on here. Support me.
Cool.
In hindsight.
Is there a website or is it, can we get it through Amazon, or where can we get the stuff at?
You can get it on his Instagram page. There's a link on there. I will post the link on my page, and I will also send it to you guys in an email.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll include that with all the
recipes I put. Yes, I'll have a contact to get to Mike's site. So
okay, that's good.
Can you guys see this lighting wise? Is it okay?
Yeah.
For lighting? Okay.
Oh, looks good.
All righty. So with the drink, again, it's just 3 ingredients. And you don't want to make it in the actual glass you're going to drink it. I usually use it in a shaker. And this is just some lemon juice. So we're going to do 1 ounce of the lemon juice. And this is pineapple juice, which buy the pineapple juice because juicing a pineapple is
it's a pro tip.
Pointless.
Okay.
It's just, don't do it. Just buy it. But there's going to be 2 ounces to that. If you do juice it, a side note to it, you get a pulp that comes out of it, that the extra of it, this pulp, you can see this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use this in the glaze. So this is still really good. So it's got all the flavors, just not the juices. I'm gonna build a glaze with this. So this is just as good as using chunks, but I want it to be smoother. So in order to do that and not have those little spikes or pokes in there, this is just save this if you juice it.
Okay.
So do this. We're gonna go with Knob Creek today as our bourbon. This one, I like the bite on it. This is the 100 proof. You can go with whatever your choice. Again, it's just a nut light drink on that. We're gonna do 2 ounces because we're cooking. And nice stir to it. Don't go too crazy. We'll fill up ice. Make sure you put a strainer on this, just in case anything got through. I had pre-made just some pineapple squares, yeah, and nice cherries, Lasado cherries. Extremely simple drink. That's it. Nothing major with this. Lemon juice, pineapple juice, bourbon, and you're back at summertime. Oh, that's nice. If you want to sweeten it up, you can use simple syrup or make a simple syrup. We've talked about that before, making simple syrup, which is just equal part of water, sugar. And then as you're actually letting that soak in, if you want to make it where it's a pineapple flavor, orange flavor, I would take the core or chunks of pineapple and put it and let it sit in there as it boils, and it will take the actual flavor profile of that, and you can save that and be good to go. And now use that as any kind of additive to any drink you're making. Maybe it's an old fashioned that you want to have like a different twist to it, or a Manhattan with that simple syrup that might have in there. So just the idea when it comes to that.
Okay.
So let's go with the pork. We'll start off with that. And the biggest part about that herb pork is going to be the rub that you're going to put onto it. And yeah, already did it. There we go. So the rub that I am going to build is going to be a few different things, but you can change it up. So I always, always, always have garlic in every rub I do. Garlic fiend, I just love it. It's great flavor profile with that. So that's about 2 tablespoons of garlic. We're going to put some chives in there.
Okay.
That's also about 2 tablespoons. I have some fresh chopped parsley. I'm gonna do 2 or 3 of those. I'm gonna do red pepper flakes. I put a whole tablespoon in there. Now, you can dial that back if you want, but with the glaze, it's gonna cut into that spice. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. It's actually gonna help with the color on that rub on that, instead of everything just being kind of this bland green. And it's not as spicy as most people would think. So I'm gonna take that in there. Also, another seasoning or rub that you can use your favorite rub or seasoning. On this one, I'm adding Cribbie Cube. It is a lemon garlic. So it's gonna hand set. It's got some other flavors that goes into there. Do a little salt. And I'm going to add a cup of oil. Now, I mix this oil. You can do a cup of straight olive oil, but I have duck fat in here. So I got a half a cup of duck fat and a half a cup of olive oil. And that duck fat is going to help with the searing of this process. So if you're putting it in, say, the oven, it's going to actually help give a nice crisp to the skin of it and a nice color to it. If you're smoking it, it's going to help on that. That duck fat, if you can find it, it's the way to go when it comes to making a rub. So I'm going to mix this up together. Pro tip, taste everything. It took years for me to taste things. I was always relying on other people to taste it. But if you don't like it, never sit it out. So always try it, taste it, see how it goes.
Okay.
And although it's oily, you're just making sure it's not too spicy or whatever you're trying to achieve. And I just don't want this to be too salty. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Duck fat is good.
Where did you get the duck fat, by the way? Will?
I got it at our local Safeway, which would be equivalent to Dilbert's or Schnucks.
Okay,
and
just a local grocery store. Okay.
Local grocery store. It's in the aisle where you get coconut oil, all that stuff. It should be there.
Okay.
You can get it in a spray form or a liquid form. And matter of fact, this is
okay, duck fat. There you go.
Duck fat on here, and this is a Kroger brand. So I forget. I don't know who Kroger owns back home anymore, but right. I mean, everyone is a conglomerate with that. Is they carry the same one.
Gotcha. So yeah, just a house brand there. So that's cool.
It's just a house brand.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go to that. The nice big lovely pork rack of ribs. So just to explain this real quickly, that rack of pork is a combination of the pork tenderloin and actually your ribs. So if you were to look at this, I'm showing it from the back version of it. This is half a rack of ribs right now sitting on this. And then as you flip it around, this is the tenderloin portion of it. If you were to separate this, it would just be the two pieces of meat. But this is a nice large cut that you can use on holidays, big family gathering. You get the nice flavors that come with the bone. You know, anytime you have a cut of meat, you always, well, it suggests you have the bone because the flavor comes from that. So this helps protect that tenderloin from drying out. And you want to treat this like you would do any kind of rack of ribs. So on the back of this has got a membrane. You want to remove that membrane. And then on the front of this also has silver skin. So we're going to remove all of that in there. Now, if you don't, it's not the end of the world. It's really not. It's just how that bite is going to turn out when you serve it to your family. And if you don't like the family, it doesn't matter. Just let them chew on it. On this,
Will,
you would just get yeah.
Do you see who showed up? So Will requested Renee come to one of these. I was like, I'll send her an invite now. Maybe she's here.
I gotta swipe my phone. There she is. Okay, I was a little hurt that you hadn't been on here.
I said,
yet,
let's invite her. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So she's here.
So now I have to do the next show and make donuts for Renee.
Yeah.
How you doing, Renee?
Hello.
All right, so we're gonna remove the actual back of this membrane off of this rack of ribs.
Okay.
If you leave it on, it's not the end of the world. It changes that chew on that. So what you do is get a butter knife, run it underneath one of the bones, and you'll see it start to come up. You can have a paper towel or a rag, and it will just rip right off. And what also is going to do is once you put a rub on here, it's going to allow it to penetrate into that meat. So I'm not going to change much more on that back. What I will do is starting just to address this. If you cook it at this point again is good, but I am going to trim some of the fat out of between the bones. And the point of this is just to make it look good. It's presentation at this point.
Okay.
So just get a nice sharp knife, and if you were looking at it or if you had it in front, you can see where the connection, there's a little crease right here. where the tenderloin is actually connecting to the rib. And we're just going to go down to that point and clean it up a little bit. It's slippery, so be careful. If your knife is sharp, it will make the day difficult. We get these out of here. Set it to the side. And also when you're cooking it, if you're roasting it, I've seen it where some people actually wrap the bones with foil just to protect them so they burn or don't burn, or the fat on there doesn't crisp up. Again, it's all about the presentation with that. If it doesn't matter, if it's just a weekend and you're cooking it and it's just family, I wouldn't stress out. But if it's something that you got people over that you're trying to impress, or you don't want it to look out of place, then trim that up. So on here, let's see if you can see it, but let me swipe. Right there. Okay. There's a little layer, and you can put your thumb in there and you'll see this silver skin on the top of here.
Okay.
And take a sharp knife, and you're just gonna work your way in there and just get that silver skin off. And once at this point, let me backtrack. At this point, you should have your oven on, if you're doing the oven, at about 350, 375, and put it in a roasting pan, and you're gonna check it. And the goal, our internal temp, is going to be 140, 145 to the center. So don't check the edges, just check the center piece of that, and that's where you're gonna target where that meat is. So that means that some of this meat is going to be a little bit technically overdone, but some people might not want to have theirs at 145. They want it cooked a little bit differently, or a little more doner, as I would say. So now we got all this off. At least we're almost off. And there, at this point now, you can see where this tenderloin is and where the rib is at. We go
you
over
make
the
this look
top.
easy. You make it look easy.
Yeah.
It's never as easy for me when I try to do
No.
this. Yeah, it never works out like that.
Trust me, I've messed up and butchered way more from making mistakes on it. So it's just practice and just doing it and over a period of time. It's not easy. My hat's off to all the professional chefs that do this and make it even easier than this. All right, so we're gonna get rid of this. All right, now at this point, I'm going to score this meat a little bit. And I am just trying to make sure that, since it's a big cut, that I get all of this nice rub that I just made on here. Get your hands on there and massage it in there. Make sure you got a big surface to work with, and just massage that in there. I am going to use this actual rack right here and just place it right into the oven. And set that in there at 375. And I'm going to let that go probably about 2 hours. I'll check it about an hour and a half in there and see where it's at with temperature. But what will happen is this.
Wow, this is what I want. Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that.
The beauty.
Uh-huh. It's like a real cooking show, right, Renee?
Yeah, proper cooking show.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It just popped out. I don't know what happened.
The magic of television.
Yes.
The beauty of it, I tell you. Nice and juicy. So once you pull it out, if you're roasting it or if you're on the barbecue pit, always rest it. You want to rest it at least a minimum of 15 minutes. And what that does is allow those muscles to shrink up and allow that juices to contract and stay in. Although there's a little juice here, that's not, this is going to be nice and beautiful, hopefully. Get that, there we go. Alrighty.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
The downside to some of this is this big rack is finding where the bone's at. So you want to make sure you got a nice sharp knife on this, and it's okay. It's all right. So as we look at this now from this point of view, we can see the tenderloin part, and this is the rib part. You can see the rib coming down and the tenderloin part, but nice and juicy. It stayed a temp on that. So we're gonna set that to the side as we make the rest of the meal to go along with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna focus on the mac and cheese. This bone is not participating. Oh, there we go. Okay, I should have did it the right way. Flip it on the back side where you can actually see the bone when you cut it. It makes it a lot easier. Jeez. This is the first time I've ever done this. So with our mac and cheese, the goal is to make a roux. So kind of like you would make a gravy. For cheese sauce, we're gonna do the same principles as it goes. So we're gonna get some butter going. I'm going to saute up some garlic and a little onion into this pan. Fortunately, I had some pre-melted butter. We'll get some chopped onions. Now, as we make this sauce, this is just going to kind of caramelize this. So it won't be too chunky. It's not going to have any kind of odd bite to it when you make the mac and cheese, but it's going to give it so much more flavor on that. What I also did was pre-made my noodles. So if you got a big meal, this is a pro tip. If you're doing a big meal, always make your noodles ahead of time. They will stay. You can put them in a Ziploc bag. You can make them 2-3 days. Make them, boil them, rinse them off, stuff them in a bag. You can reheat them up by running them under some warm water, or in this case, I'll use some of the hot butter, and I'll actually just kind of loosen them up. But that's it. You can plan those noodles ahead of time.
Okay.
So we'll let that catch up there. And does anybody have any questions while I don't see anything. Anybody raising their hand?
How often do you recommend sharpening your knives?
Good. That is a great question. So in my case, I cook pretty much every day.
Uh-huh.
So I would say that I send mine out every 3-4 months to a professional sharpener. But I sharpen mine probably once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Once every 2 weeks, and it's just a quick, like, just to make sure everything's up and up.
Do you have one of those like rod type of sharpeners? Yeah, like.
Let me see if I can. I have a couple types actually. I do have a rod type. So for instance, for the brand, they may have a specific angle that they request or they suggest you to keep the true.
Oh, the blade angle. Okay.
Blade angle on it. For instance, this right here is the shun knife. I show it. Did I lose that other speaker? Oh, all right. So this is like a Japanese shun knife, and it has a different angle than this Hans knife, which is a German knife. So it's required that I do something totally different. And with that, I can use a regular cutter on the German knife, but I can't on my Japanese one.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
So now we got this bubbling on there. So again, back to that, I try to do mine once or twice a week.
Okay.
As I'm using it, but honestly, you can just get away with every couple weeks.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to build this roux. We got that going on. I am going to use 3/4 of a cup of flour. On top of, I'm going to say that was probably 2 tablespoons of garlic and probably like, I don't know, probably about 1/4 cup of onions. And as I mix this, it's going to get thick and kind of brown. And that's fine. You're toasting it. Again, we're making a roux, which is the basis of any kind of sauce or gravy that you would make. Let me move this over here, see if we can get some more light. So is that better?
Yeah, looks good.
So, you know what you don't notice when you're watching cooking shows is all the things that are going on behind the scenes to make it look like I'm moving lights left and right. I'm stumbling.
Yeah, you're a one-man show.
That's
Yeah. You don't have a whole production crew.
right.
This is all right. Let's get that off the side. All right. Now we're going to add, I'm going to start with 2 cups of milk. Or you can use a heavy cream. And at this point, make sure you use a whisk. This is going to help break down all the little bits in there. And we're going to keep watching this. You do not want to walk away from this. This could scorn and actually burn it, and you're starting back over. So we'll keep watching that, keep whisking that. It's going to thicken up pretty quickly. Add a little more milk to that. Let's see, where's this at? And again, we want to make sure we taste this as we go, because we don't want this to be too chalky. We don't want this to be too bland. And so if we look closely, we can see it kind of thickening up on the sides right here.
Yep.
At this point, we can add some cheese. So what I did was I got a block of cheese, and I shredded it myself. And we're gonna add about 4 cups. So I'm gonna add 2 now. Set it to the side, get that together. Let it thicken enough there. I also add a little parsley. You see that thickening up. We got a nice little cheese sauce going on. Add a little more milk to this. And what we're looking for is what type of texture. If it's too thick, we want it really, really kind of liquidy thin. Whereas you pick it up with a spoon, it's gonna kind of slide off of it.
Gotcha.
Now, this is the added thing that I like to do. It's going to help with the smoothness of this. I add sour cream. A little sour cream goes a long way. You can use cream cheese with that, and this is going to help with the smoothness of the texture. Okay. So I'm going to grab about 1/4 cup of that, maybe 1/3 cup. And whisk that in. I was smoothing out really good. At this point, we want to add a little salt to this. Start seasoning at this point, and we're cooking this at about, I'm gonna say medium, maybe a little high, medium to high. Now we got a nice right there. I'll let that bubble up a little bit. I've turned it down to low. I'm gonna keep checking that, making sure it doesn't stick as I prepare my noodles and get my drink out the way. And the bacon that goes to this. This is also something you can do in advance. What happened?
I said, now we're talking. Bacon's good. Yeah, you're not going to mess this up adding bacon.
Cheese sauce.
Yeah.
So I would also do the bacon in advance, and that's just in the oven. I prefer to cook it on a flat tray, and I take that, I put it regularly on a flat tray, and I season it with whatever rub that you want to use. On this one, this rub that I use for, we'll take it off of that real quick. I use this Killer Cooks.
Okay.
And it's called the Moroccan spice sauce. It's got a brown sugar, but it's also got some other spices that goes along with that. And I bake it in the oven at 375 for 20 minutes, but I'll check it. But this is what you get. It's almost like a candy bacon.
Yeah.
There you go. So we got that going on, and we're checking with our sauce, making sure. Now, here's also another pro tip. You see that sauce bubbling up right now? Let's see that?
Yep.
I am going to add my noodles to this.
Okay.
This way, we get it all together. It's going to heat it up a little bit. And we make sure that every one of these noodles get that cheese sauce on there. So we get that in there. And then we take the bacon that we pre-cooked, chop up the pieces in there. Sprinkle those in there. Let's see, mix that around a little bit. Now, realistically, you can probably start eating this right now if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not going to do that.
Eat that right from the pot while it's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that it's nice. It's okay. Can you see it? A straggler was there. It was a straggler. So at that point, in the same oven, what we're going to do is put it in a little baking pan.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it in that oven at 375. And we're going to bake this mac and cheese. Get that filled into there. And don't spill it. It's a mess. How do they keep the kitchen so clean when they're cooking? I don't believe that. All right, we'll put that in the oven. And again, miraculously,
look at that.
Wow.
It's like the microwave of ovens.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Super oven.
And
look at that.
You get a nice little creamy mac and cheese with that bacon. And I'll just share that with you right there. It's okay.
Oh.
That looks fantastic, man.
Yeah, that looks good.
We'll set that to the side. Now, the true winners of this deal are my neighbors.
Right. He makes all this and gives it to the neighbors. This is fantastic.
Well, I can't eat it all. It's just too much. So the side story, funny story. This is part of the conversation at night. It's like, okay, where the delivery's gonna go? Who's on the delivery list for this meal or that meal.
Uh-huh.
So, and after this is all done, we got another delivery list. So we'll set this to the side, that mac and cheese, and get this cleaned up. And we'll work on that pineapple glaze real quickly, which is something you could have done. Again, most of these recipes I try to do where you can, a bulk of this you can do in advance, a day before, 2 days before, and actually store, especially if it's a big meal for family.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely can do it ahead of time. So what we're gonna do is this pre-made butter. I'm gonna put it in another pan, get that heated up real quickly, and get some of my pineapples that I had there. So I'm just gonna take some chunked pineapples, and we're gonna get that going in this, and I'm gonna kind of heat those up. While that is heating up, I am going to prep the rest of this pineapple for my upside down cake. So a nice little thin slice. Now, it's probably best that you just buy the canned pineapples that are already sliced, and it's just save yourself the drama under dramatics. Just get it out of the can. Dole does a really good job, and then you're not sitting here like I'm doing, trying to cut the core out of the middle. But I do like fresh produce. I like supporting our farmers market, so I will take the extra step. But you don't have to do that. So that's not really a circle. That's more like a octagon. This is anyway. All right. So while those are cooking, I'm butchering this pineapple that we're going to use for the upside down cake, the bourbon upside down cake. Everything is bourbon based, except for the mac and cheese. That's the only one that didn't get bourbon in there technically. And let's see. All right. Any questions? I can't look up right now. I might lose a finger. No questions yet, Steve?
No questions.
Nothing?
No.
Okay. We got to have like a trivia section.
Can I ask you a question? Is there like a cheese that's best for mac and cheese? Like one that's superior?
Ooh.
Renee's coming up with a good question.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to execute all of these later on.
And I'll send you the recipes too, Renee. So.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I'll say there's ones that you shouldn't use.
Okay.
But I usually do like a 5 cheese mac and cheese, but your cheddars are good.
Mm-hmm.
A breeze break down really well. Anything that's going to break down, like I wouldn't suggest Parmesan unless it's on the finished end of it.
Okay.
Or Romano or things like that. But Gruyere is good. Gouda is a good, mild, really creamy cheese that will fit in there. So those are a few that I typically use on that. A pepper jack is a good one. So Monterey Jack is something that you can put in there. It's all on whatever you want to taste, but you can use the other ones. It's just not going to break down. It's going to have like a gritty taste to it.
Yeah, you want it creamy.
Yeah. I'm just butchering this poor little. Now I'm regretting not buying the can one. This is horrible. This is being taped. I'm sorry, Mr. Pineapple. I apologize.
Pineapple is tough. Yeah.
Goodness gracious! And you see these YouTube videos and people. I don't know if you've seen it. Like I think we've been eating pineapple wrong this whole time. I've seen one where they actually pull it like each little vessel, and it's like,
yeah, I've seen that.
What's going on with you?
Yeah, it's like a string cheese almost.
It's a weird little deal. So now that we got this going on here, so this is sauteing a little bit right there, a little bit extra there. I am going to introduce the star at this point. A little bourbon.
Back with the Knob Creek, is that what that is?
Yeah, that's the Knob Creek on this
Okay.
one. I didn't venture too far off
Yeah.
on
That
this one
makes
right
sense.
here. So get that. It's kind of glazing up.
Seems like Knob Creek would stand out too. So
Yeah, I
it's
do.
gonna,
I
it's
agree
going to
with
hold
that.
up.
I can't complain with them. It's done everything I've ever wanted with cooking.
Yeah.
It's a great sipper at the same time. I have also, like our first show, I did a lot of cooking with Willette. Does a really good job. All of theirs. Let's see, the Kentucky one, the Pure Kentucky is a good cooking one. What other one? Barchtown was a good one to cook with. So I love all of those that they put out in there. So, all right, we're gonna let this cook out now. So we're gonna just kind of candy those up a little bit, and now we're gonna add some rub to this. So I want this to be a little bit of a spicier. So I'm gonna add this criver cube. It's a kick to it, and I'm also gonna throw some more parsley back in there. This is the glaze again, so it's not gonna be totally sweet. It's actually gonna have some combinations
Savory
that will
notes?
go with
Yeah.
with that. So I'm gonna add some onion into there, and we're gonna add a little water. Left it there, and what I'm also going to do is that pulp that I talked about earlier.
Yep.
I'm gonna add that in there too.
For those of you that were late, that's from when he juiced the pineapple. He gets some pulp.
Yeah.
And so he saved that, and he's using that now.
So we'll let that simmer up a little bit, and while we're simmering that, we're gonna work on the upside down cake. Now, warning, what you may see might be disturbing at this point, but it is a kitchen hack. So I am going to use for my cake just good old Betty Crocker.
Betty Crocker.
Betty Crocker saves the day. Now, this could be with anything that you might be making. If you don't have time with this, and you can, change up that recipe to add moisture, to actually have that denseness to it. So typically, what you would do is take this premix and maybe add an instant pudding to it, and that would give it this nice, really moist flavor to it. So it doesn't taste like a box cake. But we're gonna turn that down. To make this into a bourbon upside down cake, I wouldn't use the pineapple upside down mix. I'll use a regular yellow cake mix. And we're going to follow the directions on the back of it, which it tells me 3 eggs.
Okay.
And it also tells me to add a 1/3 cup of melted butter, which I had some there. And then I'm going to grab a little bit here. Hey, come on, get out of there. Yep. A mess, I tell you. And then we're going to whisk that up together and start to get these combining. And it says add at this point a cup of water. But I'm not going to add a cup of water. I am going to add a 1/2 cup of water and a 1/2 cup of bourbon.
All right.
Ooh.
It's a boozy cake. I like it.
I promise you guys, I don't have a problem. It's a good way to get everybody to sleep, I tell you that. I'm going to check on our sauce. coming together slowly there. Now, jump back to this. What I'm gonna do on that, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla to this.
Okay.
So this is gonna have a really like a holiday smell to this. It's gonna be really good. I'm gonna add a little nutmeg.
Ah.
Now this glaze, you can actually use this when I'll put it on there. You can use this on a ham. You can use this just about on any protein that you might be making. So if this is the ham you're going to be making, you can come up with this little glaze and just pour it right over on top of that piece of lovely Christmas ham. All right, so we'll let that keep going. And we're mixing this over here. We're taking a drink. Is that water, Steve?
Yeah, that's just water. Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. What? No. What? That's bad business.
I had it earlier, but I finished it. I had some eggnog. Yeah. So I was in the holiday.
You know what? We didn't do that earlier. What was everybody drinking? What was everybody drinking today?
Right. We need to have cork pops.
Or was anybody drinking today?
Yeah.
We should have Lenny do one.
Yeah,
Lenny
that's
famously has terrible cork pops, but he's in a different city. He always blames it on where he lives. So
I actually drove down here to Tucson to experiment with my cork popping. So. Yeah,
it's elevations.
Anybody who doesn't know, Lenny owns Deer Hammer Distillery in Buena Vista, Colorado, but he's on vacation in Tucson. Yeah,
nice.
That's Lenny. Yeah, that's him.
What in the world? Oh man!
Oh, he makes some great whiskey too.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have sent out some ingredients.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
You should sponsor the show.
I could have done a whole show about that.
Yeah, next time we get together, which will be February, by the way.
Yes, for sure. We'll do I'll do a whole recipe just based around that. A whole menu for that.
There you go.
Lenny's stuff is too good to cook with, though.
Yeah, well,
you drink with it.
The one you don't get to have is the hickory smoked corn. That's my barrel there. I got to get out there and buy that. And Lenny's been. I noticed that people have been having some drinks of that, like the Ewalds, of course. So, yeah, it's got to stop.
You're going to come back out and sample it again. You better.
No, you're not. No, I've got a padlock being delivered there that's going to be put on there.
Has his own Secret Service man.
Right.
All righty. So as we bring this together here, just make sure you spray the actual ramen kits if we're doing individual, and if you're making a bigger one for the individual, I'm sorry, not individual, but if you're making a larger pineapple upside down cake, the key to having a successful disconnect from that is spraying it. You always want to spray.
Well, this is cool. I didn't realize these were going to be individual ones. So.
Yes.
That's cool.
No one likes to share pineapple upside down cake.
Great.
All righty. Yeah. And from there, we'll take your butchered pineapples. Poor pineapple. And can we see this? And get that in there. We'll set that into this. And now some people add different things on the inside of that upside down cake. A lot of times I use nuts on it, or if I caramelize it, but this one we're just going to do this. And then we're going to add, instead of a regular cherry, we're going to add our
Luxardo
cherries.
Yep.
We'll put one in the middle. That's going to be a little bit darker. At this point now, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar in there.
All right. This is getting better even.
That's too crazy.
You could just, I'll eat that cake better raw than that
Right.
already prepared. Rather than.
Then we're going to take more mix, put it on top of there. Do not feel that this will expand and grow, and that is then a mess inside of your
Yeah, you don't need that.
oven. So you want to leave about a quarter, if not a half an inch. This is messy. Onto that. Set it to the side. Now, if you ever see someone tapping it like that, to just try to get the air bubbles out of it, so there's no pockets, we'll clean it up a little bit so we don't have any burned marks. I sit these on a tray, and this is cooked at 375 also in the oven. So we'll set this in here. Oh, that's in the oven right now. And miraculously, it happens again.
Nice. Look at that.
Oh,
They just show up. And then if you're lucky, you pop out of there.
Perfect. Yeah.
And what I do now is what I did was I take some pecans, depending on what part of the country you're from, and I put this in the oven with a little butter and a little brown sugar, and we're gonna just sprinkle that on the top of there. I didn't have whipped cream. I failed miserably, but at this point you can do a little whipped cream on here or ice cream, and there you go.
That's great.
You had
That's a cool presentation too.
yeah, that's delicious.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I didn't have any whipped cream. It's just like I failed. I had one job, whipped cream, one job. One job. So we clean up a little bit. And what I didn't talk about, but I'll show pictures too. Let's see if we can do this. Did I lose everybody? Is everybody there? So
Oh, you're there. You're good.
all right, I made some greens to go along with this meal. And all this was a prepackaged turnip greens and some broth and some onions. And I set them on a very low cook this morning that will go with this. And I used, instead of just plain broth, what I did was added a beef marinade. So you can get any kind of beef seasoning marinade and add it to the water. And that's just going to intensify the flavors inside of these greens. So I'll have that for sure in our recipe, but it was just too much to.
So how long's that been going, Will? So you're saying the morning?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, no, I put these on probably around, let's see, I put those on about 9 o'clock. So they've been going almost 4 hours.
4 hours. Okay.
They're probably fine now. But greens are like a chili or a stew, or the longer you let it sit, those flavors just get in there. So if you let it go all day, that's fine. They're better the next day. Mm-hmm. So if you can cook it the day before, great. If not, no big deal. So we got this little nice medley of, turn this around. I need a production team. So this is now just stewing up there. Nice little flavor. Let's put this all together now. So We'll get everything together. We're going to leave those chunks in there. All right, leave those chunks in there. We'll get scoop of those greens out. Drain them properly. Alrighty.
Man, that's what's for dinner right there.
Yeah, that's a lovely presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice.
We'll take some of these. Ah, pineapple down. Pineapple down. All right. I hope you guys didn't see that. But now that is right there.
That looks great, man. That's
Wow.
restaurant worthy right there.
Yeah.
That's as good as
I
you.
wouldn't go that far, but thank you. We
No.
could clean
Yeah,
this
no.
lid off.
Oh,
There.
man, that looks great.
So
We
we
need to
have
get
a
you on
herb
Chopped.
roasted.
That'll be our goal. We'll get you on Chopped.
Chop Canada too.
Yeah. Such a great show.
So Steve, that's it, man.
Oh, that's
That's,
a great looking meal, my friend. So absolutely.
That's all. That's all she wrote.
Wow.
We'll open it up here for questions, and I just want to remind everyone. Will get me the recipes? I'll send them out to everybody via email. I'll also send a link to the video of this. We record this that way. If you want to refer to, obviously it's going to be written, but if you want to see visually how he did stuff, you can refer back to the video then. So I'll have that in there as well. So. And that'll go out just as soon as Will sends it over. Could be, it might have a busy, crazy week this week. So just whenever you can, Will, I'll get it out to him. Any questions for Will about any of the recipes or cooking in general? I mean, he can help you out with a little bit of anything. So a little free opportunity to ask any questions you like. Melanie, we had Neil for a little bit there, but he had to leave again.
Who's that?
Paperwork.
Oh,
Yeah, her husband.
I had a question on the mac and cheese. Did you put anything on the top of that before you baked it?
I love that question. So what I did was I let it bake by itself for about 30 minutes, and I pulled it out and I added more of the shredded cheese on top of it to give a crust to it,
Okay.
Yeah.
and a little more parsley.
That sounds pretty good. Other questions?
Nothing? Okay.
Do they call that cut of pork that you did? Is that a particular cut with with the prime rib on it and the whole bit? Is that anything special?
It's just so I got that from Costco, and it's just called a rack of pork.
Rack of pork.
Rack
That's
of
it.
pork. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Rack of pork.
I was at Costco today. They had standing rib roast and the rack of pork side by side in a meat case.
Yep.
Okay.
I did the same thing. I just went in there and grabbed 2 racks of pork and trim it up for them and go from there.
You know, when you're not really much of a cook, you see that big rack like that, and you think, boy, there's a lot of production involved in that. But you made it look so easy today.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable picking one of those up now and trying it just in the oven like you did. It looked fantastic, man.
I swear I'm not doing anything special. It's just trial and error. Just like, oh, I messed that up. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Oh, I messed that up. Just try that again. So
No, that
it's just go for it. Just try it. Just put your toe in the water, man. Put your toe in the water.
Doing a standing rib roast for Christmas, my first time. Hopefully I get it right the first time. It'll be an expensive mistake.
You'll get it right, man. You'll enjoy it. And what a turnaround and happen, you're like, oh man, I'll try this next time. I'll try that next time.
The only thing different this year is because of less people coming over. I normally do a full 7 ribs.
Wow.
the one I bought last year was too big for. I had to cut part of it off because it was too big for my roasting pan. This year I went with but they're easy to do.
Okay.
We got a 3-ribber. We've only got 5 people, so just doing a 3.
I got a 4. There's only 3 of us.
Anything different with the beef, Will, that you would do other than compared to the pork?
It will come down to just the ending temperature, where you want what type
Right.
of doneness. That's it. I would actually use that same rub on the rib roast. It goes to either one of those proteins. So
Yep.
it just
Would you
comes
do
down
the
where
would you
want
do the
doneness.
paste? Would you do the paste with the oil on the prime rib too? You know, similar
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
Mix your
Yeah.
dry in the oil and okay.
That's good.
Even because it's a bigger cut, I may actually hit it with after I rub it down, hit it with more seasoning on top of that, because the texture of that meat is tougher than the pork, so it's going to have just that much more to get into the actual meat of that. So you can still do the same and rely on like the extra juices you're going to add on afterwards. So I wasn't too concerned about this penetrating this meat because I knew I was going to have a glaze to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Shout
Well,
out
I
to-
was a little late signing on. What was the rub that you used for the pork?
So what I did was I made a rub with olive oil, duck fat, red pepper flakes, salt, a lemon garlic salt that I have, and parsley, chives, garlic, and just mix it up and just rub that onto the actual pork rack of pork.
All right, sounds good.
I don't know what that noise is. Shout out to Tim Wheeler made it to this one, so that's cool. He's in Alaska, so he normally doesn't get to join us for this stuff because usually he's working. You know, he's behind the times, and so usually a lot of times when we're having an evening event, it's still work time for him. So I'm glad you get to be here, Tim.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad to watch this because the macaroni and cheese I want to do for Christmas now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your idea too of doing the noodles like the day before. A lot of times when you're talking about holiday cooking, those burners are coveted, and that takes a whole burner off there because you don't have to worry about boiling water for the noodles and that. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Just as much as you can, do ahead in advance. That's something that holds over a few days. I mean, you can do it 2-3 days in advance and just sit it in the freezer, refrigerator, and it'll be fine. And that's with any one of the pastas. It could be spaghetti or whatever. And like I said, to rehydrate that, just put it under some warm water or whatever you're going to do. You're good to go.
Just comes back like it normally, just like
you won't even know the difference.
That's great.
You won't even know.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think there's a lot of Italian restaurants that do stuff like that.
Oh, I know they do that.
Yeah. It's like if at home a pasta takes 15 minutes to cook and you order the same type of stuff at a restaurant, it comes out in 10 minutes. You go, how the hell they cook it that fast?
They're making the sauce as they go, but they're keeping those noodles and they're making those in advance.
Yeah. Any other questions? Great.
Well, if your neighbors ever move, just let us know.
Yes. The houses right by him are worth like $1 million because everyone knows they get the free food. So there's a spike in real estate, just this little circle around Will.
Here's the funny thing. I usually post on Instagram in advance, like my prep work up to the show, or if I'm doing it. And so I'll get text messages. Hey, what time is it over? What time
they're placing orders.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we'll take a plate or two, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I'll be there shortly.
Well, Will, really appreciate it, man. This is fun stuff. You do a great job, and it's not an easy thing to do. I think you make this look really fun,
so easy,
and simple. But man, just being a one-person production team is unbelievable. And the fact you do all the pre-work by preparing things ahead of time and then able to show us the finished stuff, it really goes a long way, man. Really appreciate you. So it's great stuff.
Well, they say when you find something you love to do, you don't have to work anymore. I legitimately love cooking. Like it's my escape. if you were in my kitchen at 7 o'clock this morning, I had music blasting, a cup of coffee, and doing dishes. I'm just having a good old time getting ready to cook. So it's a true joy. I love it. It's just the best way I can show my appreciation to other people and share my love to other people. It's just through cooking. So
yeah,
love it.
Well, you're helping all of us up our game a little bit in cooking.
No
so.
kidding.
Oh, well, you're absolutely right. If you love it, it's not work.
It's not even work. I don't
I
even
came
think
home
about
after
it.
working yesterday and made some Amish onion fritters.
Ooh.
And I did some Maryland crab cakes with a
Oh my
margarine rasa sauce on them.
Did you actually have blue crab to make those Maryland cakes, or just?
No, actually, at Costco, they have
It always goes back to
containers
Costco.
of chunks of lump crab meat.
Really? I gotta go
Yeah.
check that out now.
Yeah.
Dude.
And it
Thank
works
you.
out great because it's a pound, and the recipe I have is makes 5 crab cakes with a pound of crab meat.
Wow.
I think I might have crab cakes tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
All right. Well, we'll sign off here and say goodbye to our audience.
Thanks again,
this
Will.
morning. And
Thank
finally,
you.
I want to thank Will for the great job that he did.
Yay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bravo.
All right, guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care.